Okay. So, like I said, I don't want to rush what God is saying. I wanted to do just one video, but you know, the more and more I begin to talk, you know, the more God just places in my spirit. So this is like 10, 20, 30 minutes of talking. Yeah, that's crazy. But somebody will come across this and they will see this and they will hear this, and you know, somebody's faith will be built. You know, he worked it out. They told me, you can't get this car. They tried to give me something else. God spoke to my spirit and said, silver. Now, if you're wondering, like, you know, how is God talking to you like that and saying this? You know, prayer. Prayer. When you speak to God, it is so true. Like our bishop was saying, that's why I was so overjoyed in service, because I'm like, this is so true. When you commune with this awesome, great God, when you talk to this wonderful God, he begins to place stuff in your spirit. When you are yielding to him, he will begin to let you know. Man, by the time God got through with me, when a man was coming up to me when I was single, I was able to spot. Don't you know, on what was it called? What was that movie called? I don't know, but the girl, she was a regular girl, and she was like sprung, I think it was. And she looked at the guy, and the little computer screen went on. It was like boop, boop, and going off like, eh. That's the kind of radar, I promise you. That's how it was. This one gentleman, you know, hey, you know, I really like your spirit, and I went to your pastor in reference to you. And the Holy Ghost radar was like, boop, 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 So it's like when you spend time with that man, God, man, he will let you know some stuff and save you from some stuff. You can even step into some stuff and he'll even break it up. You might be hurt, you might be crying. He's like, you wasn't praying that much, you know, so I just had to step in and take that thing out the way, because you just wasn't trying to hear or see none of the signs. I'm sorry you had to get hurt like that, but you know, now I can do the right thing. So I mean, you know, but it's all about our faith and our trust in God. And you never know how God is going to do things, how he's going to work it out in your life. You just never know. I mean, they actually, if you're sitting in the dealership and the guy is telling you, you can't get that car, you're going to have to take this. The car, it looked like somebody straight pulled it out of a river with dust and dirt, trees, palm trees. I mean, all kinds of stuff was on this car. And I was like, I really felt like crying. I really did. I was like, they are trying to get me. And I was like, ooh, like, there's no way. I was like, God, I know what you said. Even if I had to come back tomorrow, I know what you said. I know what you said. I ain't call them. They called me. You did this. So then he placed in my spirit silver. And then I look over and I see my car driving past. And I looked and I was like, oh. And he was like, you like that car? I was like, yeah, well, you can't get that because, you know, we tried. There was one of the group of cars that came in and we tried, but you can't get that. I said, that's what the Lord said. And by then I knew, because when he said silver, I turned around, I thought, that's the car. That's it. That's what I'm driving off the lot with. He was like, okay, you know, like, cool, 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 cool. So he goes in, and like I said, they did all this talking, I mean, for an hour. Pulled the car around, it was all washed and vacuumed out. My father come after the deal. God already done set the deal up. He come back like, yeah, let me get in this car and make sure that the washer and the mirror works right, and hitting the brake, driving it forward, hitting it back, driving it forward, hitting it back. Let me make sure that this is right. I said, Daddy, God had already worked out the deal. Well, yeah, this only has, you know, like 25 miles on it, and it's a 2003. Somebody that was 110 that had that car and only drove it 2 days back and forth to the store. It's almost like I had a new car. And for to be a 2003, that old, you know, and well, a couple years old. But I'm like, you know, God, you worked that thing out for me. And ladies, when you're single and you feel like you really don't have anybody, if you don't really have parents that have money like that can help you, maybe you lost your mom, maybe you lost your dad, maybe you lost both, and you don't have anybody to really step in, that's why you don't see, I want to encourage you, don't look at other people. And of course other people may have wonderful families and have people to help them and to really stick by them, and you just wish so badly that you had that. But know that you have God. Know that you have Jesus Christ. And I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that because I was motherless. My mom passed when I was 8, and actually around Christmas I remember getting thousands of toys, which is not about that anyway, but I didn't know that, to getting only 2 toys for the first time in my life, and from going back and forth living with different relatives, sleeping on different relatives' floors, and being talked about, being lied on, going through certain stuff with friends and this, that, and the other, to going and staying with boyfriends because I really had nowhere else really stable to live. I've been through it all, and I didn't have somebody to sit me down and say, come on, go to school, come on, do this, come on, do that. And these things, as I'm older, I'm learning and I'm loving it, and it's a testimony, and it's strengthening me, and it's building my faith, because now I can say, even though you're a young woman and you feel like you have nobody on your side, you can have faith and trust in Jesus Christ, our Lord, our Lord, our Lord, my father, my mother, my grandmother. See, I didn't have, a grandma to come and sit on her lap and talk to. My grandmother passed. She's gone. When we was little, we had that, but after my mom passed, I don't know what in the world happened. So then she passed on, and then my father's mom, we had never been really close because I had never really been around her like that. I had never really been around her like that. And when I did, it was just, from when I was going to school, stop at her house for a little bit, then leave or whatever. So I never grew up with her to get that, loving, caring, oh, my granddaughter. It just wasn't like that. So, when you don't have that, when you don't have people, when you don't have a dad, thank God you have a mom. When you don't have a mom, thank God you have a dad. If you don't have either, you can trust and believe in God, because even with a mom and with a dad and with a husband, things can go wrong, and only God can work that out for you anyway. So he's saying you need to have faith. You need to trust in me, because I am really your source. I'm your source. Don't only come to me when the way can't be made by the ways you thought it was going to be made, or the people don't come through. If they do come through, if they don't come through, just know that God, He is the one that gives provision. He's the one that does it all, but you have to have faith. If you're going through something, just know that it's to strengthen you. Just know that it's all for His good. I remember another time, this is very personal or whatever like that, but my breasts were leaking. And I was like, what is this? And I was asking, and I was Googling stuff like, what does this mean, like this clear liquid? I wasn't having sex. I wasn't pregnant. This is years, so come on now. So I was like, what is this? Something is going wrong. And I kept like feeling in my mind, like, I don't know, I just kept thinking like cancer. So I began to bind and pray and consecrate and fast. And I was like, God, I don't know why for so long I just kept hearing breast cancer. I was like, that never ran in my family as far as I know of. Now, why am I feeling like this? Why am, this leaking clear liquid? And people was telling me different things, and I was Googling different things. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I said, God, it wasn't about the fact that I didn't want to go to the doctors and know, because sometimes you need to know to get the proof, so then you can come back with the piece of paper like, God healed me. Now, you told me I had this and I had 2 months to live, but here it is. So I didn't really have insurance like that then, and I said, God, you're going to have to touch me, because it was going on for like almost like a year where this was happening. So they told us to come in the line at one of my old churches by faith, and whatever you have, God is going to do something within your body on things that you know and you don't know. I went in that line, and by faith I touched myself, and I have never had any leakage, tenderness, nothing ever since then. This is the type of God we serve, but we have to have faith. I love you all, and be blessed, be encouraged, have faith.